I clean daily rental apartments for a living, which means I spend most of my time walking into spaces that are trying very hard to forget who just left them. The job is simple on paper. Wipe surfaces, change sheets, empty bins, reset everything to look untouched, as if the previous guest was a dream the apartment briefly entertained. But sometimes the dream leaves marks that don't come out with bleach, and sometimes those marks lead to places I wish I'd never noticed in the first place. This story begins with a booking platform message from a host named Marcus, who managed a sleek downtown studio listed under phrases like minimalist haven and urban sanctuary. He texted me on a cold Tuesday afternoon, his words clipped and urgent. "Guest checked out this morning, left a note, said don't go into the closet, need you there now." Notes from departing guests aren't unusual. They apologize for stains, explain broken cabinet handles, leave tips with smiley faces. But warnings are something else entirely. I asked Marcus what the note said exactly, and he sent me a photo. Neat handwriting on hotel stationery, 5 words pressed hard enough to dent the page beneath. "Whatever you do, don't open IT." The note read, no signature, no explanation, just that single sentence sitting in the middle of the page like a border nobody wanted to cross. I stared at the image on my phone, standing in the grocery store aisle with a gallon of floor cleaner in one hand, feeling my stomach tighten in that old familiar way. Marcus sent another message. "I'm offering double rate. I'd go myself, but I'm 2 hours away. The next guest checks in tonight and I can't cancel without penalty." Money talks, especially when rent is due and my car needs new brake pads. So I agreed, packed my kit, and headed toward the address with my notebook open on the passenger seat. The building was one of those new glass towers that sprouted downtown like expensive weeds, all reflective surfaces and keycard lobbies that smelled like luxury hand soap and ambition. Marcus's unit was on the 14th floor, 14G, door smooth and white, a digital lock glowing green when I entered the code. No keyhole to remind you this used to require metal. I pushed the door open slowly, called out my usual greeting. "Cleaner here, just me," and stepped inside, letting the silence settle around me like a held breath. The apartment was exactly what the photos promised. Floor-to-ceiling windows, pale wood floors, gray furniture that looked expensive but uncomfortable, art on the walls that matched nothing and meant less. The kitchen was spotless, dishes done, counters wiped, even the sink polished dry, which told me the guest had either been fastidious or desperately trying to appear normal before they fled. I walked through the living area, checking for anything obviously wrong. No broken glass, no overturned furniture, no signs of struggle, just an eerie tidiness that felt rehearsed. The bathroom was pristine, towels folded on the rack as if staged for a photo shoot, soap dish clean, mirror clear, shower tiles dry, everything put away like a museum display. Then I saw the closet door, the one the note had warned about, standing shut at the end of a narrow hallway, its surface as blank and featureless as the rest of the apartment. It was a standard sliding door, frosted glass panel, aluminum frame, the kind that came factory installed in every unit, nothing visibly different or alarming about its exterior. But someone had left masking tape across the seam where the door met the frame, 3 long strips forming an X, as if trying to seal something inside or warn someone outside. I texted Marcus a photo, found the closet, guest taped it shut. What's normally stored in here? Did they report any issues during their stay? He replied fast, "It's empty, just a closet. Shelves, hanging rod, nothing else." Guest never mentioned problems until checkout, then left that note and practically ran out. I stood there staring at the taped door, every instinct screaming at me to listen to the warning, finish the rest of the cleaning, leave the closet sealed, let Marcus deal with it himself. But the note had done exactly what warnings always do. Made the forbidden thing the only thing I could think about, the only question that mattered more than my own safety. I peeled the tape away slowly, each strip coming loose with a sticky whisper, and let them fall to the floor in curled, defeated shapes that looked like they'd tried their best. The door slid open with a smooth mechanical glide, revealing a narrow closet maybe 4 feet deep, white walls, wire shelving on the left, a hanging rod on the right. It was empty, just as Marcus had said. No clothes, no boxes, no storage bins, nothing except bare shelves and a single wooden hanger swaying slightly from some imperceptible current. I stepped back, confused and a little embarrassed, wondering if this was someone's idea of a prank, or if the previous guest had some irrational phobia I'd never understand. Then I noticed the air coming from the closet was colder than the rest of the apartment, not freezing, but noticeably cooler, like a draft from somewhere the heating system couldn't reach. I pulled out my phone's flashlight and aimed it at the back wall of the closet, expecting to see drywall, maybe an access panel for plumbing, something standard and boring. Instead, I saw a seam running vertically down the center of the back wall, almost invisible unless you were looking for it, where 2 panels met but didn't quite match. I pressed my palm flat against the left panel and felt it shift slightly under pressure. Not solid like a wall should be, more like a door that had been painted over to blend in. My heart rate kicked up several notches, that familiar sensation of standing at the edge of something I'd regret investigating, but would regret ignoring even more. I pushed harder, and the panel swung inward on hidden hinges, opening into darkness beyond, a space that wasn't supposed to exist according to the building's polished, confident floor plans. Cold air rushed out, carrying with it the smell of concrete dust and something metallic, like old coins or the back of your throat after you've been holding your breath too long. I aimed my flashlight into the gap and saw a narrow passageway, walls unfinished, floor rough concrete, stretching back into shadow beyond the reach of my phone's light. This wasn't a storage space or utility corridor. This was a deliberate construction, a hidden vein running through the building's body, unknown to residents who paid thousands to live here. I texted Marcus, "There's a hidden door in the back of the closet, opens into some kind of passage between units. Did you know this was here?" 3 dots appeared immediately, pulsed, vanished. Then, "What? No, that's not on any plans, don't go in there. I'm calling building management right now, please just wait." But waiting meant standing in an empty apartment with a door open to a secret passage, wondering what the previous guest had seen that made them tape it shut and run. I did what I always do when faced with a choice between safety and knowing. I stepped through the gap, phone raised, flashlight cutting through the dark like a question nobody wanted asked. The passage was narrow enough that my shoulders nearly brushed both walls, the ceiling low enough that I had to duck slightly, claustrophobia pressing down like an extra layer of air. I moved forward slowly, feet careful on the uneven concrete, counting steps in my head, 5, 10, 15, until the flashlight beam hit another door ahead, this one metal, industrial. It had a small window at eye level, glass reinforced with wire mesh, the kind you see in old factories or service corridors, designed to let people see through without letting them break in. I approached cautiously and peered through the window, expecting to see another dark passage, maybe building infrastructure, pipes, electrical panels, something municipal and boring. Instead, I saw another apartment, fully furnished, lived in, someone's home, visible through the window like a framed photograph of a life I wasn't supposed to be able to access. The layout was identical to Marcus's unit. Same kitchen, same living room, same gray couch. But this one was occupied, jacket on the chair, laptop open on the table, coffee mug still steaming. My breath caught in my throat as I realized what I was looking at. A passage that connected one rental unit directly to another, hidden behind closet walls, invisible to anyone who didn't know where to push. I pulled back from the window quickly, heart hammering. mind racing through implications I didn't want to finish assembling into anything coherent or criminal. Footsteps echoed behind me, back toward Marcus's unit, and I spun around, flashlight jerking wildly, illuminating nothing but empty passage and my own sudden, visceral panic. "Hello," I called out, voice shakier than I wanted it to be. "Marcus, is that you? I'm in the passage, don't close the door, I'm coming back now." No answer, just silence, and then a soft mechanical click from somewhere ahead or behind, impossible to tell in the narrow acoustic space where every sound became directional and wrong. I moved back toward where I'd entered, retracing my steps, counting down, 15, 10, 5, until I reached the opening and stepped back through into Marcus's closet, gasping like I'd been underwater. The closet looked exactly as I'd left it. Empty shelves, swaying hanger, taped strips on the floor, but now the hidden panel in the back wall was slowly swinging shut on its own, hinges creaking softly. I grabbed it before it closed completely, holding it open, staring into the dark passage, trying to decide if I'd imagined the footsteps or if something else was sharing the secret with me. My phone buzzed in my pocket, Marcus calling instead of texting, his voice tight when I answered. "Building management says there are no passages. They're saying you're mistaken, but they want to send someone up." "I'm not mistaken," I said, still holding the panel open with one hand, phone pressed to my ear with the other. "There's a whole corridor back here. I saw another apartment through a door at the end." "What apartment?" Marcus asked. "Whose unit?" "I don't know," I admitted, "but someone's home right now. Their coffee was still hot. This passage goes directly from your closet to someone else's space." Marcus was quiet for a moment then. "You need to leave, right now, don't touch anything else. I'll deal with management and the police. This is way beyond cleaning." He was right, but part of me, the part that keeps a notebook full of things buildings don't want me to notice, needed to document this, to prove it existed before someone sealed it up and pretended it never had. I took photos. The panel, the passage, the view through the wire mesh window, making sure the metadata would timestamp and geolocate everything in case someone tried to edit the story later. Then I let the panel swing shut, slid the closet door closed, and walked back through Marcus's apartment with the careful, measured pace of someone pretending they weren't just scared out of their mind. I was halfway to the front door when I heard it. A soft, sliding sound behind me, like the closet door opening again, metal track whispering against its groove. I turned slowly, every muscle tensed, and saw the closet door standing open, the interior dark, the hidden panel in the back wall now visible and slightly ajar. Nobody was there. No figure in the shadows, no hand reaching through the gap, just the empty closet and the passage beyond, waiting like a mouth that had decided it wasn't done speaking yet. I didn't run. Running attracts attention, invites panic. But I walked very fast to the front door, locked it behind me, and stood in the hallway breathing hard, staring at the closed white door of 14G. My phone buzzed again, this time with a text from an unknown number. "You saw, now you know why they leave. Don't come back. This isn't for cleaners." I stared at the message, hands shaking slightly, trying to trace the logic of who would have my number, who would be watching, who would care that I'd opened a door in an empty apartment. Then I remembered the laptop on the table in the other unit, screen glowing, camera likely active, pointed at the wire mesh window where my face had appeared like a ghost visiting from the wrong side of the wall. I called Marcus immediately. "Someone just texted me. They know I found the passage. They told me not to come back. Who has access to your guest list? Who can see cleaner contact info?" His breathing was audible through the phone, fast and shallow. "The platform has it. Building management might. I don't know. What did the message say exactly?" I read it to him word for word, and he swore softly. The kind of cursing you do when something theoretical becomes dangerously real in the space of a single sentence. "I'm forwarding this to the police," he said, "and I'm canceling tonight's booking. I don't care about the penalty. Nobody's staying in that unit until I know what the hell is going on. I left the building through the main lobby, nodding at the doorman who smiled blandly and held the door, completely unaware that the structure he guarded had more doors than anyone had bothered to count. Outside, the city looked normal. People walking past with coffee cups and headphones, cars idling at red lights, the ordinary machinery of afternoon continuing without acknowledging the hidden passages beneath it all. I sat in my car for a long time before starting the engine, staring at my notebook, trying to decide what to write that would make sense of what I'd just seen. Finally, I settled on this. Passage behind closet connects 14G to unknown unit. Someone monitors access. Guest fled. Host didn't know. Building denies it exists. That night, I dreamed about walking through the passage again, but this time it branched into more corridors, more doors, more wire mesh windows looking into apartments where people slept unaware that their walls had been hollow all along. In the dream, every apartment I looked through had the same furniture, the same layout, the same gray couch and pale wood floors, as if the entire building was just one room copied over and over, with passages connecting all the duplicates. I woke up at 3 a.m, sweating, and checked my phone. 2 new messages, both from unknown numbers, both sent within minutes of each other. The first one said, "You're not the first cleaner to find it. Ask around. See who else stopped taking jobs in that building." The second one said, "We prefer you didn't. This is your only warning." 2 messages, opposite intentions, which meant at least 2 different people were watching what I did next, waiting to see if I'd stay quiet or start asking the questions they didn't want asked. I spent the next week working other jobs, avoiding Marcus's building, trying to ignore the itching curiosity that kept pulling my attention back to those messages, like a tongue searching for a broken tooth. But I also started asking other cleaners, casually, in the way you do when you don't want to seem paranoid. Anyone ever work units in the North Point Tower, the new glass building downtown? One woman, older, with the tired look of someone who'd been cleaning rentals longer than I'd been alive, narrowed her eyes when I mentioned it. "I worked there once," she said, "found something I wasn't supposed to find, got a message telling me to forget it, stopped taking jobs there after that." "What did you find?" I asked, trying to keep my voice casual, just curious, not desperate to confirm that I wasn't losing my mind. She looked around the supply closet, where we were both restocking our kits, making sure nobody else was close enough to overhear, then leaned in slightly. "Cameras," she said quietly. "Not the obvious ones. Hidden ones in the passages between units. Someone's watching people move through those corridors, watching who finds the doors, who goes through, who comes back." My blood went cold. "Did you report it?" "To who?" she asked, shrugging. "Building management. They built the passages. The platform. They just want bookings. The police. They said it was a civil matter. Talk to a lawyer." She picked up her spray bottles and headed for the door, then paused and looked back at me with something between pity and warning in her expression. "Best advice I can give you," she said, "is document everything, tell nobody where you keep your notes, and don't go back through any doors that weren't part of the listing." I took her advice about documentation, filling my notebook with names, addresses, dates, descriptions of every hidden thing I'd found in rentals over the past year, looking for patterns I'd been too busy to notice before. 3 other buildings came up repeatedly in my notes, all new construction, all managed through the same platform, all with that same polished, minimalist aesthetic that made every unit look like a clone of every other. And when I cross-referenced the ownership records, public information, available to anyone patient enough to click through county websites, one name appeared on all 4 buildings: North Point Development Group, the same company that built Marcus's tower, the same company that apparently built passages into the walls and then sold units to individual buyers who had no idea they'd purchased apartments with hidden doors. I sent an encrypted email to Marcus with everything I'd found: screenshots of ownership records, photos of my notebook pages, a list of other cleaners who'd stopped taking jobs in those buildings. He replied within an hour. I showed this to my lawyer. She says it's not illegal to build passages if they're disclosed, but if they're hidden and used for surveillance, that's criminal. We're filing a complaint with the city. A complaint. Official channels, proper procedure, the slow grinding machinery of law and regulation, which meant months of hearings and paperwork while the passages stayed open and the cameras kept watching. I wanted something faster, something louder, something that would force the doors open in both directions and make everyone look at what they'd been pretending not to see. So I did what any reasonable person with a notebook full of secrets and a stubborn refusal to let buildings get away with lying would do. I contacted a journalist. Her name was Sarah Chen, investigative reporter for a local news outlet that still believed in stories that made powerful people uncomfortable, and she agreed to meet me in a coffee shop far from any building with hidden passages. I showed her everything: the photos, the notes, the ownership records, the messages from unknown numbers, the testimony from other cleaners who'd found doors they weren't supposed to open. She listened without interrupting, taking notes on her phone, occasionally asking clarifying questions, her expression shifting from skeptical to interested to deeply, professionally angry. "This is huge," she said finally, looking up from her phone. "If what you're saying is true, and your documentation suggests it is, this is systematic surveillance embedded into the architecture of multiple residential buildings. Can you publish it?" I asked. "Or will they kill the story before it runs?" "They'll try," she admitted. "But if I can get someone from the city's building department on record, or better yet, get inside one of those passages with a camera crew, it'll be a lot harder to suppress." We spent the next 2 weeks coordinating. Sarah pulled permits, filed records requests, and tracked down former Northpoint employees willing to talk off the record about the company's construction practices. I kept working, kept cleaning, kept documenting every unit I entered, checking closets for hidden panels, looking for patterns in which apartments had been built with doors the residents didn't know existed. Then, 3 days before Sarah's story was scheduled to publish, I got a job request for an emergency clean in the Northpoint Tower, Unit 14G, the same apartment where this had all started. Marcus wasn't the one who sent it. The request came through the platform directly, no host name listed, just an address, a code, and a note: "Guest checkout incomplete. Immediate attention required." I knew it was a trap, or a warning, or a test to see if I'd be stupid enough to walk back through a door I'd been explicitly told to avoid. I also knew I was absolutely going to do it, because sometimes the only way to prove something is real is to let it hurt you just enough to leave a mark someone else can see. I texted Sarah, "Going back to 14G, if you don't hear from me in 2 hours, assume something's wrong. I'm leaving my notebook in my car with instructions to send it to you if I don't return." She replied immediately, "Don't go alone, wait for me. I'm bringing a camera operator, we'll document it together." But I was already in the parking garage, already in the elevator, already walking down the hallway toward Unit 14G with my kit in one hand and my phone recording in my pocket. The door code worked, same as before, and the apartment looked exactly as I'd left it 2 weeks ago. Clean, empty, staged for photos, nothing out of place except the closet door, which stood wide open, revealing the darkness beyond. I walked toward it slowly, every instinct screaming retreat, every step forward feeling like a decision I'd spend the rest of my life questioning. The hidden panel in the back of the closet was already open, passage visible, that same cold air flowing out, carrying with it the smell of concrete and metal and something else, something chemical and wrong. I stepped through the gap, phone raised, recording everything, and followed the narrow corridor to the metal door with the wire mesh window, the one that looked into the neighboring apartment. But when I peered through the glass this time, the apartment on the other side was empty, furniture gone, walls stripped, just bare floors and that same cold concrete smell that meant construction or demolition or both. Then I heard voices behind me, multiple people, footsteps echoing in the confined space, and I turned to see 3 men in suits standing between me and the exit, blocking the passage with their bodies. "You were warned," one of them said, not unkindly, like he was disappointed rather than angry. "This really didn't need to escalate this far." "Who are you?" I asked, surprised by how steady my voice sounded. How much adrenaline can sharpen fear into something that looks almost like courage? "Building security," he said. "Private contractors. We monitor these access corridors for safety reasons. You're trespassing in a restricted area." "Restricted from who?" I asked. "The people who live here, the people who pay rent and don't know there are passages running through their walls." The man sighed, like I'd asked a question he'd answered too many times before. "This is a utility corridor. It's in the building permits, fully legal. You're making this into something it isn't." "Then why threaten me?" I said, holding up my phone. "Why send messages telling me not to come back? Why does this passage connect one rental unit to another if it's just for utilities?" Before he could answer, I heard Sarah's voice from the other end of the corridor, sharp and loud and unmistakably recorded. "This is Sarah Chen with Channel 7 News. We're documenting restricted access corridors in the North Point Tower. Identify yourselves and state your authority to detain this individual." The 3 men turned, and I saw the camera light behind them, Sarah and her operator filming from the entrance, capturing everything. The passage, the men, me standing in the middle, phone still recording. The security contractors looked at each other, silent communication passing between them. Then one of them spoke into a radio clipped to his belt. "We have a media presence, requesting guidance." Whatever response he got made him grimace, then nod. He turned back to me. "You're free to leave, but this footage is property of North Point Development. We'll be filing for an injunction." "Try it," Sarah said, still filming. "This is a public safety issue now. You can't suppress documentation of architectural features that compromise resident security." We walked out together, Sarah filming the entire route, marking the path from Marcus's closet through the passage to the stripped apartment on the other side, documenting everything before it could be sealed or denied. The story ran 3 days later. Hidden passages found in luxury rental buildings, residents unaware of interconnected units. With photos, videos, interviews with residents who'd had no idea their homes were connected to others through hidden corridors. North Point Development issued a statement claiming the passages were utility access corridors included in building permits. Fully legal, nothing sinister, just misunderstood architecture. But the city launched an investigation anyway. Building inspectors suddenly very interested in comparing filed permits with actual construction, finding discrepancies nobody had bothered to look for before. Marcus and 11 other unit owners filed a class action lawsuit, claiming fraud, breach of contract, and diminished property value due to undisclosed architectural features. And I kept cleaning rentals, kept documenting what I found, kept adding to my notebook. Because the North Point Tower wasn't the only building with secrets, and closets aren't the only places where doors can hide. Sometimes, late at night, I still think about that passage, about the apartments connected by corridors nobody was supposed to find, about the cameras watching who went through and who came back. I think about all the guests who checked out early, who left notes, who taped doors shut, who felt watched and couldn't explain why, their discomfort dismissed as anxiety or paranoia. I think about the cleaners who found things and stopped taking jobs, who got warnings, who decided their safety mattered more than knowing what was really happening behind the walls. And I think about the buildings still standing, the ones I haven't cleaned yet, the ones with closets I haven't opened, doors I haven't found, passages I haven't walked through. Because if it happened in one building, it happened in others. If one developer built hidden corridors, others did too. If one platform listed compromised units, more exist. The architecture of deception isn't limited to a single tower or a single city. It spreads wherever profit meets privacy, wherever design includes doors nobody mentions in the listing. I'm just the cleaner who comes afterward, wiping surfaces, changing sheets, resetting apartments to look untouched, while documenting every crack in the facade where the truth bleeds through. And when the next message arrives, whether it's a warning, a threat, or another emergency cleaning job in a building with too many closets, I'll bring my notebook, my phone, my flashlight, and my stubborn refusal to pretend I don't see what's clearly there. Because someone has to walk through the doors nobody admits exist. Someone has to look through the windows nobody's supposed to notice. Someone has to ask why the walls have passages, and the passages have cameras, and the cameras have operators who prefer their work stay hidden. That someone might as well be me, the cleaner with a notebook full of secrets and a growing suspicion that the buildings I work in are far more connected than their floor plans suggest. And if one day I open a closet and find myself staring into a passage that leads somewhere I can't come back from, at least someone will know I didn't go in blind. I went in documented, recorded, and certain that whatever happened next, the doors would stay open long enough for others to see what was hidden behind them all along. 3 months after Sarah's story broke, the city's building department launched a full investigation into North Point Development's construction practices across all their properties. What they found confirmed everything I'd suspected. 12 buildings, 47 units, all with hidden passages that had never been properly disclosed to buyers or renters. Marcus got a settlement that covered his legal fees, and then some, enough to buy a place in a different neighborhood, in a building old enough that its secrets were visible in cracked plaster instead of hidden behind smart locks. The other cleaners who'd found passages and stayed quiet reached out to me, apologizing for not speaking up sooner, explaining they'd been afraid of losing work or facing legal retaliation. I understood their fear, but I also knew that silence had allowed the passages to stay hidden, had let more people move into apartments that were watching them without their knowledge. Now I keep cleaning, keep documenting, keep my notebook full of observations that most people would dismiss as paranoia, until they see the proof stacked in a courtroom. And every time I open a closet door, I remember. Buildings lie, walls hide things, and sometimes the only way to find the truth is to push on panels that look like they're sealed forever. Because I clean daily rental apartments for a living, but what I really do is refuse to let spaces pretend they're simpler than they are, safer than they are, more honest than they were built to be.